Good morning. Today we are going to discuss the plane wave solutions of Dirac equation. So in previous classes, we have obtained the Dirac equation for a free particle, and the Dirac equation is IH cross dou psi by dou t equal to minus ICH cross alpha dot del into psi plus beta mc square into psi. And we have discussed the properties of these alpha and beta matrices, and we can write alpha 0 sigma sigma 0, and beta can be written as I 0 0 minus I. Here sigma is the Pauli spin matrices, so the alpha x will be 0 sigma x 0, and alpha y 0 sigma y 0, and similarly we can write alpha z equal to 0 sigma z 0. And these are the Pauli spin matrices, and you are familiar with the properties of these Pauli spin matrices. Here sigma x is 0 1 1 0, and sigma y equal to 0 minus I 0, and sigma z is 1 0 0 minus 1. So correspondingly the alpha x is a 4 by 4 matrix, because the sigma x is a 2 by 2 matrix. So the dimension of this particular matrix is 4 by 4. So alpha x, alpha y, and alpha z are square matrices of order 4. And also here the beta matrix is I 0 0 minus I. Here I is the unit matrix, that is 1 0 0 1. So correspondingly you will get the beta matrix. Here all the off diagonal elements will be 0, the diagonal elements will be 1 1, then minus 1 and minus 1. And also here the psi is also a column vector, and it can be represented as the column vector psi 1 psi 2 psi 3 and psi 4. So in this particular equation, psi is a 1 into 4 matrix, that is it is a column matrix having 4 rows and 1 column, and alpha is a 4 by 4 matrix, and beta is a 4 by 4 matrix. So when you substitute the values of this psi, alpha and beta, you will correspondingly get 4 equations. So with these 4 by 4 matrices for alpha and beta, and a column vector with the 4 rows for psi, this Dirac equation is equivalent to 4 simultaneous first order differential equations that are linear and homogeneous in the 4 components psi 1, psi 2, psi 3 and psi 4. Okay. Now we are going to try the plane wave solutions of the form psi of rt equal to u into e raised to I into k dot r minus omega t. Here psi is a matrix, it is a column matrix. So here u can be considered as a matrix with components, let it be u1, u2, u3 and u4. Now we can substitute this value of wave function to the Dirac equation. Then we will get here it is IH cross dou psi by dou t. So what we will get is IH cross into, you have to differentiate this wave function with respect to time. So here both space components and time components are there. So when you take the differential with respect to time, what you will get is this is a constant matrix. So there will not be any change for this particular matrix. And when you take the derivative of e raised to x, you will get e raised to x itself. But here here there is a term minus I omega t, so the derivative of this particular term is minus I omega. So you will get IH cross into minus I omega into u into e raised to I k dot r minus omega t. Okay, equal to minus I c h cross. Second term is alpha dot del. So correspondingly you will get alpha x dou by dou x, alpha y dou by dou y, alpha z dou by dou z. So the first term we can consider the x component. The term will be I alpha x into dou by dou x. So here there will be an alpha x into dou by dou x of this particular term. So when you take the derivative, there will be the term will be u will be there, and when you take the derivative, this particular term will be there. And here it is k dot r, so its x components will be kx into x, and there is an I is here. So when you take the derivative, you will get I into kx. So here there will be one term I into kx. Similarly you can write the remaining terms, that is alpha y, and this term will be there u and e raised to I into k dot r minus omega t. When you take the derivative, here you will get it is y component, so there will be I ky. Similarly for the last component there will be alpha z, and there will be an I k z. Okay, the last time is beta mc square into psi, so it will be beta mc square into u into e raised to I k dot r minus omega t, and you can cancel this e raised to I into k dot r minus omega t on both sides, and you can rearrange. So here I into I is minus I square, and there is one minus sign is there, so you will get h cross omega into u equal to, here is one I is common here, so you can take it outside, so that I into I square minus 1, so this minus sign will be cancelled. The remaining term will be c into, when you multiply this h cross inside, you will get alpha x h cross kx. Similarly, you will get alpha y h cross ky plus alpha z h cross kz. So this is now we can rearrange this term, because e equal to h nu, or you can write it as h into h by 2 pi into 2 pi nu, so this can be written as h cross omega. Similarly, p equal to h by lambda, or it can be written as h into the wave vector k is 2 pi by lambda, so you can write it as k by 2 pi, or you can write it as h cross k. So h cross omega into u becomes e into u equal to, here h cross k x becomes the px, here it is py pz, so it is alpha x px alpha y py plus alpha z pz, it is alpha dot p, so we can write it as c into alpha dot p into u, and here the last term is beta mc square into u, so you will get beta mc square into u. So let it be equation number 1, and let it be equation number 2. Now we are going to solve this particular equation, and for convenience let us make some substitution. That is, we know that u equal to, it is a 4 component matrix, u1 u2 u3 and u4. Let me write it as vw, where v is equal to the first two components, that is u1 u2, and the w equal to the last two components, that is u3 and u4, and let it be equation number 3. So now we are going to substitute the matrix values for u, alpha and beta in this particular equation. So the first term becomes e into the matrix value for u is vw equal to c into, here it is alpha dot p, write it as alpha dot p, that is our alpha matrix is 0 sigma sigma 0, so when you take alpha dot b, you can return the sigma dot p, so correspondingly the first component will become 0 sigma x px sigma x py sigma x px 0, and next will be 0 sigma y py sigma y py 0, like that. So the equation becomes c into sigma 0 sigma dot p sigma dot p 0 into vw plus, here it is beta mc square u, mc square is a constant and beta and u are matrix, so we can write it as I 0 0 minus I into vw. So now we can write it as, the first matrix will become ev and ew equal to, here you have to multiply this particular matrices, so the first row into first column, so the non-zero elements will be sigma dot p into w, and here there is one c, so what you will get is c into sigma dot p into w. Similarly, for the next row, when you multiply, the non-zero elements will be sigma dot p into v, so you will get c into sigma dot p into v plus, here it is mc square, and here the non-zero element will be I into v, and here is also on mc square is there, I into v is v, and there is mc square into v is mc square v, so you will get mc square v Similarly, the next term will be minus mc square w. So you will get equations. The first equation will be E into V equal to C into sigma dot P W plus mc square into V. Or from this you can calculate the value of V, that is E minus mc square into V equal to C into sigma dot P into W. Let it be equation number 4. Similarly, the next equation will be EW equal to C into sigma dot P into V minus mc square into W. So you will get E plus mc square into W equal to C into sigma dot P into V. Let it be equation number 5. But remember, this V is actually U1 U2, and also this sigma is also a 2 by 2 matrix. This means each one of these represents two equations, as sigma is a 2 by 2 matrix and V and W are two component column vectors. And to solve these equations, let us multiply equation 4 with E plus mc square. So we will get the first term becomes E square minus m square c raised to 4 into V equal to C into sigma dot P into E plus mc square into W. Okay, now you can use this equation to substitute this E plus mc square into W. So you will get E square minus m square c square into V equal to C sigma dot P into, for E plus mc square into W we can use C into sigma dot P into V. So you will get C into sigma dot P into V. To solve this equation, we can use the standard equation, that is alpha dot A into alpha dot B equal to A dot B plus I sigma dash dot A cross B. This is a standard equation. We can easily prove this one. So the value of sigma dot P into sigma dot P becomes A dot B, that is P dot P is EP square plus, here it is I sigma dash dot A cross B, here A cross B means P cross P is 0, so it will become 0. So we can write E square minus M square C square, it becomes P square. So C square P square, when it comes to left, it will become minus C square P square into V equal to 0. Let it be equation number 6. Now for a non-trivial solution, V not equal to 0, that means this term must be equal to 0, that is E square equal to P square C square plus M square C raised to 4. So the value of E is plus or minus P square C square plus M square C raised to 4 the whole raised to half. Okay. What was the problem with the Klein-Gordon equation? When using Klein-Gordon equation, when you find the probability density of a free particle, the value was E by mc square to mod psi square, but the energy eigenvalue can be, but the energy can take both positive and negative values. So the probability density becomes negative when E is negative. But using Dirac equation, this problem was rectified because the probability density was high dagger into psi. But here also, when you find the energy eigenvalues, you are getting both positive and negative values. That is, the Dirac equation also gives positive and negative energy solutions as in the case of Klein-Gordon equation. So you have to explain the negative energy solution. There is no other option. Okay, before going to that, we shall now determine the energy eigenfunctions. Let this equation be equation number 7. Now from equation number 4, we can write the values of V as V equal to C into sigma dot P W divided by E minus mc square. Let it be equation number 8. Similarly, from equation 5, we can find the value of W as W equal to C into sigma dot P into V divided by E plus mc square. Let it be equation number 9. Here the energy has both positive and negative values are there, and for convenience let me represent this positive value as E plus and this negative energy value as E minus. Remember, in all this derivation I have used the term m for rest mass, and when it moves with a particular velocity I will represent the mass as m of v. So actually this is the rest mass. In this particular equation p can have any values from 0 to infinity, but when p equal to 0 the value of e plus becomes e plus is equal, this term is 0, so it will be mc square. Similarly, when p equal to 0 the value of e minus is e minus equal to minus mc square. So in this particular equation the denominator there is on e minus mc square is there. So you cannot use this particular equation to evaluate E plus, because if you use this particular equation to calculate E plus, the E plus can have a value mc square. At that time the denominator becomes 0, so this becomes indeterminate. Similarly, you cannot use this particular equation to evaluate E minus, because when E minus equal to minus mc square the denominator becomes 0. So you can only use this equation to evaluate the value of E minus, and you can use this particular equation to find the energy value of E plus. Okay, first we can calculate the E plus eigenvalues. For that you have to take V or W to be arbitrary and then determine other. Let us take the simplest possibilities, that is V equal to 1 0 and 0 1. So what we are going to do is, using this particular value we will calculate the value of W, and then we can determine the value of U as VW. Okay, so to find the E plus eigenvalues we can only use this particular equation. So here we are going to substitute the value of V as 1 0 and 0 1, then we will calculate the value of W. So what is the value of W from equation number 9? So to find the value of W from this particular equation, you must first calculate sigma dot P. Sigma dot P is equal to sigma x Px plus sigma y Py plus sigma z Pz. Now substitute the values of sigma x, sigma y and sigma z. You will get 0 1 1 0 Px, 0 minus I 0 Py, 1 0 0 minus 1 Pz. When you add all these matrices you will get Pz, Px minus Ipy, Px plus Ipy and minus Pz. So now we can calculate the value of W using equation number 9. The value will become C by E plus mc square. E plus mc square. But here the energy eigenvalues are E plus. So we can represent it as so we can write it as C by E plus mc square into sigma dot P. Sigma dot P is Pz, Px minus Ipy, Px plus Ipy minus Pz into V. So we have taken V as 1 0. Now you have to multiply these two matrices, first row into first column. The only existing element will become Pz. Similarly, in the next row, the only existing element will be Px plus Ipy. So you will get Cpz by E plus mc square, Cpx plus Ipy by E plus mc square. So it is a column vector having two entries. Let me put Px plus Ipy equal to P plus. So we can write this equation as Cpz by E plus mc square by Cp plus by E plus mc square. So it is the W values for the V matrix 1 0. Similarly, we can calculate the W matrix value for the V values 0 1. Here the difference is, here you have to multiply it with the 0, 1. So correspondingly the non-zero elements will be different. What you will get is W equal to so similarly you can find the value of W for the V value 0, 1, and you have to multiply, and what you will get is this particular matrix, and we have substitute Px plus Ivy Py, we have substitute P plus. Similarly we can take Px minus Ipy as P minus. So what we will get is Cp minus by E plus plus mc square minus C Pz by E plus plus mc square. So we have find the value of W for the V matrix 1, 0, and also the W matrix for the V value 0, 1. So now we can complete the U matrix, because U matrix is VW. So for when V equal to 1, 0, the W value is this particular one, and V equal to 0, 1, the W value is this particular one. So we can write U as U1 equal to 1, 0 C P Z E plus plus mc square C P plus by E plus plus mc square, and U2 as 0, 1 C P minus E plus plus mc square minus C P Z by E plus plus mc square. Here we have taken V as 1, 0 and 0, 1, and we have calculated the eigenvalues of E plus. In a similar way, we can calculate the eigenvalues for E minus. For that we have to use the equation number 8. So it can be used to evaluate the eigenvalues corresponding to E minus. So using this particular equation you can find the values of the V matrix. So what we can do is, you can put some arbitrary values for the W matrix like this. That is, first you will put a value 1, 0 for W, and you will calculate the V value. Then you can substitute the value 0, 1 for W, and you can calculate the value of V. So you will get U3 and U4, and U3 is VW, but the difference is, here we are substituting the values of W and finding the values of V. So here we will get, first you have to give the values 1, 0 for W, and similarly you can calculate what you will get is C P Z by, here it will become E minus mc square, and the second component will be C P plus divided by E minus mc square. And to find U4, we'll use the W value 0, 1. So here you will get C P minus divided by E minus mc square, and second one will become minus C P Z divided by E minus mc square. Okay, here the value of E is plus or minus P square C square plus m square C raised to 4 1 by 2. So in the non-relativistic limit, this momentum value will be small compared with the mc square. So you can, the E plus value will become approximately equal to mc square, and the E minus value will become approximately equal to minus mc square. So when you substitute these values here, for example, if you consider this particular equation, the denominator will become 2 mc square C P Z by 2 mc square, but the values of this particular P by 2 mc square will be approximately equal to 0. So when you decrease the P value, this particular term approaches 0. So as we decrease P, the third and fourth components of U1 and U2 become 0, whereas the first and second components remains the same. Therefore, the first and second components together are often referred to as large components. And the third and fourth components are referred to as small components. But for the negative energy solutions, the positions of the large and small components reverses, because for U3 and U4, the third and fourth are the large components and the first and second are the small components. Now we can normalize these solutions U1, U2, U3 and U4, because the normalization condition is psi dagger into psi equal to 1. If you take A as the normalization constant, then you can write dagger into U1 should be equal to 1. The normalization constant can be taken as A. Then you can write A into, take the transpose of this matrix, and also you have to take the complex conjugate. So you will get 1, 0, C, PZ, CPZ divided by E plus MC square. For the next term it is P plus. P plus is Px plus IPy. So when you take the complex conjugate, it will become Px minus IPy. That can be represented as Cp minus. So we can write Cp minus by E plus MC square into this particular matrix. That is 1, 0, then the remaining 2 times. Here also one is there equal to 1. So we can write A square into, when you multiply the first time is 1 into 1, that is 1. Next is 0 into 0, 0, plus C square PZ square by E plus MC square the whole square, plus, now there is one time P minus into P plus. P minus into P plus is Px minus IPy into Px plus IPy. It will become Px square minus I square Py square, that is Px square plus Py square. So this time is C square Px square plus Py square by E plus MC square the whole square equal to 1. Now you can find the value of A from this particular equation. A become 1 plus, from these two terms you can take C square by E plus MC square as common, then remaining term will be Px square plus Py square plus Pz square, that is P square. So we can write A equal to C square P square by E plus MC square the whole raised minus half. So we have now obtained 4 independent solutions of the Dirac equation for a given momentum P. How the negative energy solutions are to be understood, that we will discuss later. And what is the reason for the existence of 2 positive or 2 negative energy solutions, that we will show it later, that the Dirac particle spin half, so that there are 2 independent spin orientations for a given momentum and energy. In the next class we will try to explain the negative energy values. Okay, thank you.